Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Go ahead, hit the like, hit the share. This is going to be just an update. And I might give some more thoughts towards the end. Depends on what's said.
I'm Brad Edwards. Singer R. Kelly is not as broke as he says he is. That from federal prosecutors in New York. In fact, they say he's making thousands of dollars and funneling the cash to a friend's bank account. Tonight, CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey is asking why it matters. Megan?
Brad, it matters because R. Kelly's attorneys have been using his lack of financial resources as a reason for why he should be released from federal custody. They're also using it as an argument for why he has consistently missed his child support payments.
How y'all doing?
R. Kelly's lawyers have been saying it for months.
If you can't go out on tour, if they're not streaming your music anymore, obviously you're going to have financial problems.
But when money comes in, he's going to take care of his kids. Earlier this year, R. Kelly was even jailed for failing to pay $161,000 in back child support, citing his lackluster bank account balance. But today, federal prosecutors said the notion that he's broke is misleading, citing a government investigation which found that he continues to receive hundreds of thousands of dollars in connection with royalties he is owed for his music, and that the funds are being redirected to the bank account of a childhood friend. Prosecutors said he has easy access to that cash if he ever needed it, for example, if he wanted to flee the country.
I got an event to do tonight.
Today, a federal judge in Brooklyn denied R. Kelly's motion for release. The judge said that the proposed home detention would not be sufficient to deter obstruction or witness intimidation. He also set a federal trial date for May 18th, 2020. That's just 3 weeks after his April 2020 trial here in Chicago. Prosecutors also said the last...
Notice with that update, we didn't see the former or the past accuser is now cooperating or now testifying against R. Kelly, which is what has been spun out of this little reporting. And it's just crazy that they're feeling some type of way that he's still having an income coming in. Well, isn't it quite possible that if so many people had done just as they were being programmed to do in muting R. Kelly, he would have nothing coming in? Every time you turn around, it's all about the money.
time he was out on bond in Cook County, he tried to leave the country. They say he tried to travel to Dubai with his 2 girlfriends who submitted applications for passports. Live in the control room, Megan Hickey, CBS 2 News.
So we heard what they threw in there, because he tried to leave the country before. Not that he was trying to perform, not that they were submitting the proper paperwork beforehand, not like he was just trying to up and flee the country. So just a little bonus. Let's go over here and review Dr. Oz with the former crisis manager. You know, if you recall, the blogs were saying he quit as a result of the things that he said and the way they tried to flip his wording in response to if he would leave his daughter around R. Kelly. And my thing is this: people were so quick to flip that scenario without checking themselves, for the simple fact, if you have a child, you should not be willing to leave your child with any fucking body you don't know and or trust. Me personally, I'm not leaving my daughters with any men. Period. It's called protecting your child. That is not an insinuation of anything. That's common sense. You don't leave your kids with anybody.
Update on a horrific story that we have been following since the beginning. As the months go on, the national case and shocking accusations of sexual abuse against disgraced superstar R. Kelly keep rising. From the beginning, he has always denied every allegation.
And it's funny how they just always refer to him as the disgraced superstar. Disgraced from who?
There are pending trials in 3 states now, in New York, Illinois, and Minnesota. What does the future hold for R. Kelly? And will the mounting evidence send him to jail? Today, we have the daytime exclusive. R. Kelly's former crisis manager, Daryl Johnson, is here, giving us an inside look into this case. Plus, he'll finally reveal what made him resign from R. Kelly's team. Take a look. Throughout his multi-decade career, there have been no shortage of shocking accusations and claims of misconduct against R&B superstar R. Kelly. In February 2002, a reporter for the Chicago Sun-Times anonymously received a 26-minute video allegedly showing Kelly engaged in sexual conduct with an underage girl. That video was sent to police. Kelly was indicted 4 months later on multiple child pornography charges and faced up to 15 years in prison. After finally going to trial in 2008, Kelly was found not guilty on all 14 counts. But in the past 10 years, as he continued to make chart-topping albums, allegations continued to surface that Kelly had sex with underage girls, as well as had abusive relationships with dozens of women, some believed to be kept by Kelly against their will. This year, 2 of these women, whose parents claim they are being held hostage, Jocelyn Savage and Azriel Clary, came forward and gave an interview denying their parents' allegations and stating that they are in a happy, loving relationship with R. Kelly. Throughout this past spring and summer, a multitude of charges against Kelly mounted in several states. In July, he was arrested on new federal charges and held without bond. In the middle of this legal battle, his crisis manager, Daryl Johnson, quit, causing quite a stir online and in the media, leaving many to wonder what possibly caused his abrupt departure. Joining me now is R. Kelly's former crisis manager, Daryl Johnson. Good to be here. I know you've been under the spotlight a bit recently. So you worked for 8 months with R. Kelly and his team managing crises. What kinds of problems did you manage for R. Kelly?
Well, as a crisis manager, my job is to help the client navigate from A to Z so that he understands what's coming, what's happening, and to prepare for trial.
So a crisis manager, they have to know everything that's going on. They need to know the truth to do their jobs well.
Absolutely.
You believe you knew the truth about what was going on in R. Kelly's life?
I do. So you have to go back to 1991. Tiffany Hawkins, who signed an NDA with Mr. Kelly, and trial took place 96 and 2008. Yeah. Acquitted of both of those.
Now, just to interrupt for a second, Tiffany Hawkins, this is the person who started the accusations against R. Kelly, the very first person. The same person who R. Kelly countersued for claiming he fathered a child with her. According to this, Kelly, whose real name is Robert Kelly, filed a suit in Cook County Circuit Court charging Tiffany Hawkins, a Chicago singer who was on one of his albums, with falsely claiming he was the father of her child. He offered to take a DNS to dispute that. In short, the case was settled out of court and she received a small settlement. And that was the green light to start all the little money grabs from R. Kelly. Just my opinion.
Now, if you look at what's happening, out of 56 women, probably only 4 can take the stand. All those women have non-disclosures and NDAs with Mr. Kelly. You know, the Survivor R. Kelly came out a year ago. And when it came out, then it escalated into we got to lock up Mr. Kelly. innocent or guilty, if a person is acquitted of a case twice, he didn't beat the case, he was acquitted by a jury.
My questions aren't about the legal issues. I'm up to date on
Right.
those. It's whether you on the inside understood what was happening.
I
with
did,
Kelly.
absolutely.
And so if they're
It's funny he's not concerned about the legal issues when we all see how R. Kelly is clearly being railroaded and being set up. But maybe the reason why he's not worried about the legal issues is because he already know what goes on. Shouldn't be a surprise he's not concerned with the legal issues because, as they say, birds of a feather flock together. All of these people are connected and push the same agendas. The same people that can sit on their platforms and tell you these bullshit ass stories about these girls being slaves can then turn around when things are not going their way and say they could face possible prosecution.
dozens of non-disclosures, it doesn't mean he's not guilty of doing things that he shouldn't have done. It just means that they can't talk about it. So you gave him advice all along, right?
I did.
So this is part of that. Do you believe you know what happened to the dozens of women who have non-disclosures in this case?
I believe I know what I know. What was presented, the facts, everything he ever told me was consistent.
And did you give him advice that he took or did not take?
He took advice. Ms. Kelly listened very well to a lot of things I said because he's his own man. He's very smart. He can't read and write, but not being able to read and write doesn't change the fact that he's intelligent. It may sound kind of crazy. He has a good understanding of what's going on around him.
So when you told him that you're going to be going to court and you're going to be accused in different states, how did he react to that?
Mr. Kelly was very nervous. He's very scared, as anybody would be, facing 175 years in the state or the federal penitentiary. You won't live that long anyway.
You're a father of a young woman. Did you empathize with what those parents were angry about?
Well, I empathize with anybody that has those kind of feelings. The problem I had was Mr. Kelly was picked up walking his dog in Chicago. The savages were in Chicago when he got arrested. Why jump on a plane and fly to Atlanta when your daughter is there and Mr. Kelly is locked up? If he's in jail, why?
Exactly. They want to put on the front. They're so concerned about their daughter. They interrupt this man's press conference talking about where's their daughter, knowing damn well where their daughter was.
Why are you talking to me? Go get your daughter. That makes no sense. What am I going to do with your daughter? I'm a crisis manager. I'm not a babysitter.
Can we move to the Gayle King interview?
Sure.
It's a controversial moment. So Daryl was interviewed by CBS's Gayle King about the R. Kelly trials, and he made another reference about being a protective father. I'm going to try to quote you here. You said you would never leave your daughter around anyone who was accused of pedophilia.
Well, let me say this to you. My daughter was not a subject. I was in daddy mode. That's where I was. I wasn't a crisis manager. If I had to redo the interview, I would have said something different. My daughter's not a factor. And I think that was blown way out of proportion because it had nothing to do with my daughter.
Would you or did you allow your daughter to be near R. Kelly?
Again, I'm going to say this to you. I believe Mr. Kelly is innocent. I have no problem with Mr. Kelly. I spent 8 months with him. He had a normal life. He had 2 women that lived with him. I couldn't do that, but he did it. Hugh Hefner had 6 live with him. And he was celebrated in Hollywood. Once a year, everybody go up and celebrate him and put it on national TV. He had 2 girlfriends, and they all agreed to it. I mean, like, that's his thing. I don't know why does everybody get all the norms in it. What's the problem? He had 2 girlfriends, Azrael and Jocelyn, and they were all in love. They loved each other.
The problem came when greedy parents wanted to come in and flip the narrative from having girlfriends to underage girlfriends when it's convenient for them. They want to keep talking about 17, 17. Well, guess what? 17 is the legal age of consent in Chicago. So people keep listening to them openly say these things, and nobody is checking them. Oh, because they are upset that this older man is interested in younger women, not minors.
Went to the movies, shopped together, and these young ladies, these are not girls, these are grown women. We got to clear it up. These are not girls, these are grown women who can make their own choice. Mr. Kelly's locked up. Again, he's locked up. Who's holding these young ladies hostage now?
Do you believe R. Kelly is a pedophile?
Absolutely not.
Positive.
Absolutely not.
Do you believe R. Kelly is innocent
I do.
of all the charges?
Absolutely.
So, what is giving rise to dozens of young women, many of them claiming they were under the age of 18, saying that they were abused by R. Kelly?
When the
Hold up. Let me tell you. Let me show you. Now, I'm no genius, but what's giving rise to these young women making up these allegations against R. Kelly? Well, maybe it could be the fact that they're realizing how easy it is to manipulate the fucking media. Like, for example, releasing a fake marriage certificate to a magazine article and making so many people believe that a man married a child. That article was so convincing that nobody used a little bit of common sense and went and looked at a real marriage certificate to see how clearly fraudulent that shit looked. To this day, I welcome you to go look at the difference. You can get the example from Obama's marriage certificate. It's readily available online. And go ahead and compare it to the so-called R. Kelly and Aaliyah marriage certificate. I guarantee you, you will see the flaw. But let's move along. You got the fake marriage certificate, which convinced the world that R. Kelly married this little girl. And even though she vehemently denied this up until her death, people still won't accept that fact. So on top of that, you got greedy ass attorneys out here ready to solicit so-called victims for financial gain. They won't go make police reports and do anything on that note, but they will come up on a bag to tell their stories. So you got the media outlet they can manipulate. You got the greedy attorneys who they can use to get them the money. You have the scorned workers who are willing to say whatever to push whatever agenda makes them feel good about their situation. You got the women who are more content in life being somebody's side piece or jump off, who are being inspired by people like this. All the celebrities who glorify sex, who push the agenda that sex sells, who are now endorsing the idea of scamming and robbing rich men. Where would they get the concept of making false allegations? Then you got the book that would lay out the blueprint for the series of attacks on R. Kelly through the media. which would spawn Surviving R. Kelly. You go back and look at this book and review Surviving R. Kelly, and you will see they are one and the same. All of this has been an agenda, and the media has been used to push that agenda. So go back to the question. Why would women do this? Why would women form together and come out with similar stories? How could that be possible? You know.